What is going on, everybody? Nicholas here, and welcome to the More Growth Podcast. We're on episode 3, and I've been having a lot of fun with this. And I'm very excited to talk to you about some things that I've learned this past week, some things that I experienced, and some things that I want to move towards and learn more about and understand more about. And so today is Sunday, and I worked at the gym, practiced some yoga, got some schoolwork done, worked on some Adobe graphic design stuff, just kind of checking some things off my list. So I started the day off. I take a cold shower. I do a little meditation, and I learned this meditation from my yoga mentor, Randall. It's one of Joe Dispenza's meditations. So I was at work last week, and I told him I was listening to this Aubrey Marcus podcast where he brought on this guy named Joe Dispenza. And Joe Dispenza, he does scientific research about actual, the science behind manifestation, the science behind gratitude, the science behind the love energy and the electromagnetic field that surrounds us when we open our heart and we connect our heart to our brain and experience this gratitude and this love energy. And so I was listening to these videos. Randall's about to go teach a yoga class. Comes up to me, this routine, and checks out what I'm doing, and I explain it to him. And I love talking to Randall about certain things, because there's certain times when you're so interested about certain things, and you want to talk about it to people, and you want to share that information, but some people are just either not interested or just not ready, or they can't understand it. But when you tell somebody what you learned, and they get it and understand, and they just take it in, it's just yes. And so it made me feel really good. Anyway, so I told him about Joe Dispenza and what I had learned, and it was blowing my mind. It was really blowing my mind, all of the knowledge that I was taking in from all of this, because when you feel that something resonates within you, when you're learning something, you can just feel the energy. You're just like, oh my gosh, wow, this is so real. And then you experience it in real time, and then it's your reality, and you do the breath work, and you see the manifestations, and you change your perspective, and you open your heart, and you experience gratitude, and there it is. It's just like, wow, amazing. It's so beautiful. I love it. And that's why we're doing this. So, I can share these things with you so you can try to practice them and apply them to your life. So Randall told me, he's like, oh, I know Joe Dispenza. I'm reading this book. It's called Being Supernatural. And so he said he was going to let me use the book. I'm about to read the book. I'm so excited to read it and share this knowledge with you guys. Anyways, he sends me this podcast, right? Not podcast, the meditation. It's 7 minutes. And what it is, it's focuses on opening this heart energy, aligning it to your brain. Heart-brain energy comes together. Electromagnetic field of manifestation, attraction of energy. And so you inhale and you squeeze in your stomach and you build it up. It's like a straw all the way up, right? And you squeeze and you hold it all the way at the top of your head, and you hold it for as long as as long as it makes you feel comfortable with a little challenge. You want to be able to challenge yourself, push those boundaries, because your brain will tell you to stop something before your body can actually do it, right? I remember one time I was in the gym a long time ago. I don't lift weights anymore. I don't enjoy, it's not that I don't enjoy lifting weights. It's just I've found that I really love yoga, and that's why I'm about to start teaching yoga. It's just because it resonates with who I am, and I felt as if I kept trying to lift weights, if I kept trying to do what other people like to do, it was conflicting with who I was as a person. And so I remember years ago when my mom tried to convince me to do yoga for so long. She's like, Nick, come to a yoga class with me. Come do some yoga with me. Come on. And you know how, mothers want their sons to just participate with them in things they like to do, just like how we want people to participate in things we like to do, especially, I'm not a father yet, so I don't know what it's like to have a child and want my child to do certain things that I like to do. And, obviously if I live with my mom and my mom knows who I am, I'm sure that she understands that I would like certain things, right? So it's just like that ignorant child was like, no, I don't want to do yoga. I like to lift weights. But really, on the other side of that fear, on the other side of that ignorance was what? I'm a yoga instructor now. That's amazing. And so anyways, where was I getting to with this? Yoga. Oh, yes. Sometimes, the thoughts, they just come and they go. But anyway, so we'll go back to the Joe Dispenza meditation. So it just opens up your heart, right? So you use it as a straw, you breathe in and you hold it at the top of your head. And then when you let go and you release it, you just feel, after a couple of rounds of it, just this, like this heart energy, this pulse through you. It just feels so amazing and incredible. And so what I'll do is I will do this breathing exercise and this meditation, and then I will do some visualization, because your brain does not know the difference between what you think in your head and the visualizations and the actual reality, right? So like, let's say, for instance, you are thinking of a scenario where you're gonna run into this guy, right? Let's say you work with a guy and you don't like this guy, and you're thinking about it in your head and you physically feel that, right? That's what they're talking about. It's like your brain doesn't know the difference, and so it'll react, right? So if you, and from my understanding is, if you align with that gratitude, right? If you do that meditation, or however you can open that heart or feel that vibration, align it with your head, and then you visualize, right? And then set it to the side and then take action towards that manifestation. You'll see the things just come to you, and the miracles and the synchronicities, and it's beautiful. It just opens up your mind, right? And so anyways, I started doing the meditations, and I want to make this move, right? And I'm sure, to each their own, but we all have, money is just a bitch, right? Like money, or I shouldn't say that now, but money can be in the way in here of things that we want to get out here anyways. And so I tried to align with that frequency of gratitude and just live in abundance, right? Just, it's all good. I live in abundance, do the things that I need to do to attract that monetary abundant energy to me, and it will manifest, right? And so I went to work. I've been doing my morning routines, and I like to do my morning routines before work because it sets me up for a better work day. It makes me feel better. I don't want to leave work as early, right? I don't want to, I want to go there and I feel like, oh wow, I got all this stuff done today. Momentum. I cannot stress momentum enough. And momentum isn't just one day. Momentum can carry, weeks and months if you just keep on taking action and doing those things, and finding presence and the connection to the divine, even in bad situations, even when you don't feel good. They talk about on Aubrey Marx's podcast, when they talk about Daoism, his name is Daniel. Danielle. Let's see if I can find his last name right here, just so I can quote him correctly. Daniel Bolelli. He talks about Daniel Bolelli. I just lost my train of thought. Anyways, great podcast. I totally recommend to listen. Daniel Bolelli talks about Daoism, and it's fantastic read. And so anyways, I go to work and I want to start taking action in making the guests feel good, right? So if I go up to a guest and I have the energy in me that, like, obviously I want to take care of the guests, but I don't want to seem desperate. Like, I want to just make them feel good without the intention of trying to get tips or money, because like at the end of the day, that's what I'm there to do, is make the guests feel good, right? And so if I live in that gratitude and love energy, if I approach those people with love, if I live in that state of abundance and gratitude rather than lack, right? Like if you live in lack, then you're gonna live in survival mode, right? And then you're gonna attract these things to where you lose money and you're spending it, But if you live in abundance and you just come back to the present moment, then you'll attract those things. And days later, come away with some abundance, if you know what I'm saying. And it just felt so good to see that, taking the actions, doing the inner work, even when you don't feel good, and then seeing it manifest. You know what I mean? And that's the key, I believe, is like, even when you don't feel good, even when you don't want to do things, do them, be stronger than your mind, mastering the mind is something it's essential. If we can master the mind, especially if we can master the mind all together in one collective consciousness, imagine the possibilities that we can do together. Imagine if we all, become present within the moment, if we connect to the divine, use our one consciousness to attract things to us, the outcome could be so beautiful. And that's why I'm here to talk to you guys about this stuff, because let's do this together. Let's manifest some great things together. You on the other side of this, you can do this. You can take the action. You can do the work. You can be who you want to be. I'm telling you, you can do this. You know what I mean? And some days, it could be like, oh man, here we are. Like it's not manifested yet, but just trust the universe, trust the world. It's going to happen. Take the action, believe, in yourself. You can do this. I believe in you. Comment in the comment section, what do you want to manifest? What do you want to be? What actions can we take together to reach those goals? And I would love to hear you guys talk about the actions you wanted to take and the exercises that you do in your daily life so that we can apply these together, you know? So I love to take a cold shower in the morning because it's like something really hard to do right in the morning. There's some other health benefits to your nervous system and all that stuff that I don't completely understand, and I'm not going to go into because I just don't get it, but it works and it feels good, and I'm just like, and you know, that's the thing. It's like, okay, so the Tao, right? The Tao talks about, and now I'm going to read this phrase in the Tao. Now, this might seem kind of, you know, what the heck is this talking about? And the Tao it's tough, right? So Daoism, it's a philosophy of religion that my friend Logan actually told me about when he's a guy I work with at the marina. He's now one of my roommates, and he's a very philosophical guy. And I talked about how I'm going to bring him on to the podcast eventually, and we're going to talk about some things. But he was like, you know, I thought you'd really resonate with Daoism, right? And so you should really take opportunities from the universe. This is a guy, right? This is a guy. And obviously everything's different. Everything's circumstantial. And don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to cause harm to yourself in any situation. You know what I mean? But with something where it's like, hey, I think this would resonate with you. Why don't you look this up? Hey, we're a collective consciousness. If he sees something in me, maybe I can look at that thing that he's talking about and understand a different perspective and then apply it to myself. And now I know more about myself. And then I can use those aspects about that philosophy and religion to understand religion, to understand other philosophies and religions, and keep, narrowing down what I believe and not claiming an identity to certain beliefs because, what is the phrase? Attachment is the root of all suffering. So understand a philosophy or idea, and then ask more questions. Be open to the idea of it possibly being wrong. But at the end of the day, like, I like to use what resonates with me from my own real world experiences, right? So if I apply Taoism to my life and I can see it work and manifest, of course I'm going to keep using it. But if someone else comes up to me with another philosophy that I'd be interested in, that I apply its principles to, and then I can take this philosophy and this philosophy and combine it, and then all of a sudden we have even greater understanding of the world. However, things change and things are circumstantial, and there are certain laws of everything. But at the end of the day, everything that the universe gives us can be used differently in different situations, right? And so, anyways, we'll go into the Tao. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. What can be put into words is not the real thing. Words are approximation of reality. The actual thing is beyond words. Words are limited. So in a sense where it's like, if you explain something to someone, it can get lost in the translation of the words rather than the actual feeling of that thing, right? They talk about in the Aubrey Marcus podcast how, like, a pen, for example, it is a pen, but it can be used to other things. It can be used to play catch with someone. It can be used to poke a hole in something. It's just this thing, right? And so it's just like, don't grow an attachment to certain things because it's the root of all suffering. Just be open to other things. Be open to the ideas of certain things. Let it flow. What resonates with you from your own experiences, And so, it says the unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. The name of what it can particularly do, but what not is entirely capable of. Instead of explaining something, show me the behavior, show me the action of that thing. Because I feel as if we can have a better understanding of, like, okay, obviously there's visual learners and audio learners, but really it's just like you could take it all into one kind of learning, and then, it's just there's polarities to everything, right? So it's like there's not, for instance, people always like to say, oh, I'm an extrovert, I'm an introvert. Well, for myself, it's all circumstantial, right? So, like, I think that I gain energy from doing things by myself to, that's how I get energy, right? Doing things by myself. But that doesn't mean I don't like to talk to people or socialize with people. I love talking to people. I love connecting with people. I love that, but don't grow it, because if it's like, if someone says, like, oh, you're an extrovert, but you're an introvert, and you get offended, well, why? It's like, be open to the, oh, maybe I'm a little bit of both, help me understand. Dive more into yourself, getting those signs from the universe, getting those people that, tell you certain things. What, obviously don't take it personally, but just kind of ask questions, And so, anyways, Taoism, I'm super excited to start talking about that in yoga. And another thing that Taoism touches on that I really love is it talks about the effortless flow of all things, right? And I want to connect this to when I learn more about the flow state. It's when you are lost in the synchronization of the world, right? So you set this intention, and it's not that you give no effort. It's that you give little effort, and it's not that you're not trying at something. It's not like you're like, oh, this. It's just like letting it flow. You know what I mean? Don't think too hard about it. Be in your body, be present. And I'm very excited to teach this to my yoga students because I don't want them to go from one movement, stop, next movement, stop. I want to connect it. I want them to take a step back from what I'm actually explaining, and on your fold. And then at the very bottom, then inhale and rise to a lift, from one movement to the next. And you can apply these things in your life. When you trust your intuition inside, there's a gut feeling inside in which I believe that's the intuition of the divine carrying you towards one direction. And then, trust that. Don't, when you start doing things for, obviously, be grateful, serve others, but do things for yourself, do things that you believe from your experience. If someone, it says one thing, I will take that into consideration, but that doesn't mean that, like, you do what resonates with you, do what you believe. And so, yeah, the Tao, beautiful, 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 beautiful. And so, even at work, like, for example, like, I've had a big problem with, like, as of late, where it's like, okay, we don't have that much to do at work. So, like, I don't, they're picking up trash, it's like one thing. And then, I don't know, just like pulling weeds, like, who wants to do that shit? You know what I mean? I want to dock boats. I want to have the opportunity to make money and talk to people. You know what I mean? And so, but I've gotten lost in I'm just going to go with the flow. I'm not going to think about it. Whatever's calling to me in that moment, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to take the action, and the day goes by so much easier, right? So I get up, I do my routine, I go to work. I'm like, it's going to be a great day. I'm just going to go with the flow, and literal go with the flow, just the effortless movement, everything. If I just think really hard about something, and then I'm just like, oh, it's the thought of doing something always that is harder than the actual doing it. What's the hardest part about going to the gym, getting in the car? What's the hardest part about making this podcast, sitting down and talking in the podcast? It's the thought, getting past this in our head. I think a very valuable skill is doing things with our body in a sense where, like, if your mind says no, like, of course, like in the morning, some days where I'm like, oh, cold shower, but then when I do it, I just get up and do it. You know what I mean? Just do it and take action, and you'll rewire those, neurological pathways in your brain. You'll establish these habits, and then you'll really gain that momentum into your life and start taking the action, seeing the miracles manifest. It's so beautiful. I'm telling you, do it. It's amazing. So yeah, let's keep going here. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you only see the manifestations. Yeah, mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. Free from desire, you realize the mystery, right? So when you come from a place of need or desire to be a certain way, all you will see is your projection of your own need or reality, right? So let's say that I'm going to interact with that person at work, and I'm like, oh, this guy sucks. From that perspective, he sucks, right? But if I change perspective and approach him with love and understanding, that whole interaction can go completely different, which is the whole point of, like, your mind will manifest the reality. The universe is mental. It's all up here. The way you think about things is how it's going to manifest. If I go to work and I'm like, suck, it will suck. If I go to work and I'm like, amazing, it's going to be amazing. And that's when anything, and of course there's going to be days that's like, you're not going to want to do certain things or work, but just that's where the work is done, is when you don't feel like doing certain things. That's where you grow. Of course, things are easy to do when you feel good. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I'm going to go on a run. I feel good. What about when you don't feel good? And that's the thing. I find that when you don't feel good and you actually do the thing, it's actually where you can have the best results in that thing. I remember a day last week where I was like, I don't want to go to yoga. I don't feel that good. One of the hardest classes I've ever done. One of the best yoga sessions I've ever had. Just push yourself, get past that mental block, take the action, do the thing, and you're going to be like, wow, I feel so good now. I saw that magic unfold. I saw that thing manifest. I did the inner work, and do the inner work, and you'll see how beautiful it can be. And so, and sometimes actually I wrote this down. This is a kind of little affirmation that I wrote to myself at work. And I wanted to have this small mantra to come back to when I feel as if I don't feel good, or it's just like if I read this, I can come back to it and come back to that intention, come back to that heart brain connection, do that breath work, set that intention, do the visualization, and just, let it all come. So it reads, I am whole, I am grateful, I am love, I am abundance, I am present, and I am in control of my emotions and perception. Right. And so you are not whole. We are all whole, right? But you have to realize that there's also a part of us that's empty as well. And the Tao talks about this, right? So, like, we are whole beings because we feel all of it, right? You are a whole person because you are happy and sad, and because you are excited and angry. You are whole because you experience everything as one thing, right? You have it all inside of you already. The divine lives in you. You are a whole being, you do not lack. You are abundant, believe that and say that to yourself, and you will experience these beautiful manifestations. I am grateful, I am whole and I am grateful. I think those are two amazing things that you can say to yourself. Come back to gratefulness. Think about the people out in the world who don't have things. Think about what you do have. Think about how far you've come in this world. Everything happens for you, not to you. And I truly believe that. And when you start thinking that way, you'll really see the beautiness of the world. It's not, don't have that victim mindset, take, just be, just be present, be whole, be grateful, and just carry on, let it flow, set the intention and let the universe do the work. Trust that thing lives inside of you, it will work itself out. Everything's gonna be all good. I am love, I am abundance, I am present. We approach others with love, approach others with positivity. Don't let others' energy affect the way that you are. You know what I mean? Don't let, if someone's having a bad day, you could go up to that person and completely change their whole perspective if you were nice. Like, if you are a dickhead to someone who you think is being a dickhead, what is that going to do? You know what I mean? If you go up to someone who's having a rough day and you're like, oh, let me take care of you, I will do the thing for you, I will go above and beyond to make your experience better, that you're making an impact on them. That could change their whole mindset. And then every time you have that interaction from then on out, they approach you with love as well. Positive energy radiates. That gratitude that you feel in your heart, that openness, will expand the electromagnetic field around you, attracting other things to you. Of course, there's going to be someone that comes up to you that you may not agree with, but just embrace that. Embrace the diversity and the openness of the world, the other perspective, the collective consciousness, guys. Don't think linear, think open. It's like, this person might be telling me an idea or giving me advice that I never even thought of that could really impact me, and you could do the same. Just approach others with love. And then I'm in control of my emotions and perception. I mean, you are in control of your emotions. You think that this world determines your emotions? No, it's all about your perception and the way you go about things and the way that you can control these things. And so, yeah, absolutely. It's great to, learn certain things and apply them and see it unfold, because that's where the that's where the manifestation and I love, that how it resonates, it is amazing. And let's see what else we got here. Something that I also wanted to talk about was, I wanted to just touch a little bit about this journey that Joe, Logan, and I went on last week. And it was done, we did it for Fantasy Fest, and I don't drink. I'm not a drinker. I don't like to drink. I think that drinking lowers your level of consciousness. It lowers your vibration, and it causes you to do things. It's just like, I don't think alcohol is good for society. I think that alcohol is put into our lives to dumb us down, to lower our vibration, so that the people in power can stay in power, and so that we are dumbed down, and that we just keep living in the same loop and loop and loop and loop. Alcohol is poison. I don't resonate with it. If you like to drink, that's all power to you, not my thing. And so I went on a journey, a LS Dream journey last week. And so it was absolutely phenomenal. And it's so funny because, like, the universe plays tricks on me sometimes, where it's like, you're going to go through this journey. You got to go through the highs and lows. You know what I mean? You got to get through it to get over it, and you got to get over it to get through it. As Joe's Aunt Kate says, it's living by that mantra. I believe it's like, when you go through certain things, or you have certain if you don't feel good, have a certain routine or strategy to, help yourself through that, battle through the demon. Don't resist it, let it flow through you. And so I set the intention before the journey that I wanted to stop smoking weed, because I've smoked weed for a long time now, and I want to get it out of my way because I feel like it keeps me from being the full productive self that I am capable of being. And I think there's amazing benefits to weed. I think marijuana should be, I love marijuana, but in rations, in the right setting. Don't abuse it, as with everything else, you know what I mean? And so, anyways, I set the intention, I went through the journey, I went through the demons, and then the key is to integrate it after, right? So doing the work, right? Shocking the body, where it's like, okay, the emotional intensity that you feel in the neurological pathways that are built during the journey, you know what I mean? It's so strong that for me, in anyways, when I started integrating it into my routine, into my mantras, into my day, I don't even think about smoking anymore. It's so powerful. The power of the medicine. I really believe in it. I do not, I do not recommend that you go do it, now. Like, just, if you choose to do it, that is your choice. For me, that is what I believe is the best. I love it. I think it really is a great benefit. But I believe it should be done in certain safe areas with people that you care about. Recreationally, it's fun, obviously, but like, it can be really used to connect to the divine, to open your third eye, to find a better understanding of yourself, and that's the thing that I also realize, is that it's not going on out here. It's all in here. When I go on the journey, it's all inside of me. The demons and the darkness, and as well as the light, it's all in here. The everything, the wholeness, it's in you. It's in all of us. We are one collective consciousness, guys. And so after, the journey was absolutely incredible. I also learned even more as to why just the drinking scene is just not for me. I just don't like going to bars. It's just not my thing, And so, yeah, it was absolutely incredible, and it helped me also embrace my authentic self, as I hope that you guys embrace as well your authentic selves. Don't be peer pressured into doing certain things. Do what calls to you, and if you do what calls to you, then you're going to attract people in your life that are more like you. You're going to attract energy that's more like you. You're going to be doing things that you love to do. If you keep living in the shadow of somebody else, if you keep doing things because people want you to do them, then you're going to be lost. You're going to find yourself, doing unhealthy things. Be you. And I encourage you to do that. And so another thing is that I was going through is the limiting belief of, okay, I need to eat 3 meals a day, right? Now, this may sound silly, but like, I've always been I used to be so insecure about my skinniness, right? And that's, back to the lifting weights thing. It's not my thing. And I always tried to be something I'm not, in the sense where I like to, I wanted to lift weights and be big. But in reality, when I got past that, and when I started doing yoga, I started feeling more within myself and more confident, because I was doing something I loved. And so back to the limiting belief thing, it's like, I always believed, like, you gotta eat 3 meals a day, you gotta eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. But that's not the truth. That just causes me to be anxious and like, oh, I gotta eat my next meal. Oh, I don't have food in my fridge, I have to spend money on food. No, you don't. You can just do what calls to you in the moment. So it's like, okay, if I have breakfast, I'll have breakfast. I don't need a full meal. Maybe I just need something in my stomach at lunch, and I'll just have a yogurt, right? Or I might not have anything, and I'll just come back and do some breath work and understand that I'm already a whole being, and I don't need, this extra outside source to. Obviously, you need food to live and energy, but it's just like that limiting belief of like, do whatever calls to you. For instance, like, I don't need 8 hours of sleep. People say you need 8 hours of sleep, and I'm sure there's science to prove that, but everyone's different. I find that when I get 6 or 7 hours of sleep, I wake up and have more energy. That's just me though, and that's the thing. And I want to encourage that's something I want to encourage my yoga students to do is, it is your own practice. It is your own flow. Take a step back. Whatever moves call to you, do those moves. It's you. Be your unique self. Of course, take into consideration the possibilities and the perspectives of others, and be one with the collective consciousness. But do what calls to you. Follow that intuition. Chances are, when you trust your gut and you don't overthink things, then you're gonna feel much better. Believe in yourself. And yeah. So a couple other things. Let's see. So guy on TikTok. Right, I was scrolling through. His name is Kevin Lewis White. Shout out. he talks about this thing, right, of becoming aware of the awareness, right? Now, this is a certain little strategy you can do to just raise your level of consciousness, right? Become more present with it the moment. So when you feel something like bad inside of you, let's say you're going to someone at work you don't like, and you just feel certain energy inside of you. Okay, instantly become aware that you're feeling that anger and anxiety, right? Or that stress feeling. But then become aware that you're aware. And then you step even farther back. And then it's like, oh, wow. And then it's just like in that moment when you become aware of the awareness, you stop the feeling inside of you. It just goes away in a sense. Yeah, it might come lingering back, but become aware of the awareness of the feeling, step even farther back, look on the inside, you know what I mean? And then you'll, it's beautiful. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think in the comments. Becoming aware of the awareness of the emotion. And yeah, so another thing is back to the authenticity part, expressing your full authentic self, being who you are. By participating in developing your unique authentic self, you are participating in the growth of the universe, right? We are the universe, right? So by doing what calls to you, doing what the universe intended you to do, fulfilling your destiny, taking the action, you are then participating in growing in the world. If I am more myself, right? If I am more authentic in who I am more equipped to help others. I am more equipped to, give better advice. You know what I mean? I don't want people to be me. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy that likes to do this, and I don't want to put a certain pinpoint on what I like to do, because that's the thing is the nameless origin of everything is where heaven and earth meet, as the Tao says. The nameless origin of everything is where heaven and earth meet. The essence, the presence, the being, the us, the it, the that thing, get rid of the name of certain things. It's just like, just be you, you know what I mean? Do what you called to do. And I really hope that, people can start to embrace more their full authentic selves and do what they love to do. There have just been so many lessons I've learned in traveling and meeting certain people, and just learn more about yourself and do the things that you love to do. I cannot stress this enough. Anyways, let's see what else we got to talk about here. I want to touch more about the Tao. I want to see if there's any other principles that I want to discuss. And of course, I have some more learning to do, but because it's just been so powerful to me, it's just resonated so well with me that I want to share the knowledge, because I had no idea what this thing was. The Tao, what is that? The Tao, actually, they talk about is the emptiness, the void before God, before the manifestation, right? So there's the yin and the yang, right? And some people say yang or whatever. It's the yin and the yang. I have developed to say the yin and the yang. Just another thing of, it doesn't matter what you call it. It's just this energy, and you need to. That's the thing. To better understand something, from my understanding, I like to experience those things versus like talk. It's just. Anyways, besides the point. Let's go back into the Tao here. All right. It says, okay, the darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding. The source is called darkness. It's free from desire. You realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you only see the manifestations. Yeah, mystery and manifestations derive from the same source, right? So the mystery is, in a sense, the void, the emptiness, the possibility of manifestations, the different perspectives. And then the manifestation is the crystallized form that manifests into reality, right? And so the yin and is the yang, right? Is the when God, everything of God, the whole world, the me, the you, the light, the love, the darkness, the all. And this is why I want to do the Om in my yoga practices, because Aubrey Marcus talks about how the yang is like how God said or yes, and then manifestation, planets, boom, stars, galaxy, all this, yada yada, and then the yin is the empty part. It's what was before God. The Tao is the void, the all possible, the mother of God. And that's what Taoism more or less focuses on, is that part, the yin, the emptiness. And so there is this, in a sense, this dance. They talk about polarity, right? So people think that dark is negative, right? Bad, stay away from it, push it out. That's not good. You need to embrace it. Everyone has it in them. You have it in you. I have it in me. Everyone has it. You know what I mean? But that, in those moments, when you face those demons, when you go through the darkness, you choose in those moments to find the light. You know what I mean? Do the shadow work. Understand that there are certain things and impulses in you that everyone has. You know what I mean? But when you put those in a closet, when you shut and lock the door, that's just going to come out in unhealthy ways, right? And so it's just as if there's polarities, the masculine and the feminine. And we're going to talk about the Kabbalion, right? The 7 Hermetic principles. And that's the 7th principle, is the masculine and the feminine, and how there is this polarity between both, and we all align. It's not like, okay, yeah, I'm a boy, but I have feminine aspects about me. There's a feminine energy about myself, as the same as if there's females with masculine energy about themselves. It's all about embracing both sides of the polarity, just as if you're embracing the light and the darkness. It's a balance. It's adapting to, in certain situations, you're going to need one and then the other. It's not just like, oh, this is it and this is bad. It's like, we're also going to talk about in an episode, the understanding of why Christianity is completely construed, and the Roman Catholic Church years ago in the Roman Empire used knowledge and Christ consciousness that Jesus talked about and all of his disciples, and they used it and changed it to what aligned with the Romans, right? So it's really screwed up. I believe that I just want people to wake up from all of these things. Jesus talks about Christ consciousness, this pure love inside of us, this light that we all carry in us, this thing, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to get too in depth of it because I yet don't understand it. I just understand that the Catholic Church and other Christianities, and I'm not trying, and here's the thing, to each their own. You can believe what you want to believe, all the power to you. From my understanding, it was construed, and there are things that are lost that are important. And so it's all about the balance at the end of the day. Good, this is what I was going to talk about. So they like to make the devil or Satan as if it's a bad, dark demon angel, but really, devil or Satan, it's just the Antichrist. It's a polarity thing, right? It's a balance. You need to find the balance between things, just as if you need to find the balance between routine and spontaneity. You need to find the balance between going out and hanging with friends and staying in and getting things done. And going out is not just drinking. Like, when people say going out, like, why? I don't understand why going out has to be just drinking and going to a bar. Like, going out could be going to the beach and relaxing and doing a meditation. Going out can be going to a batting cage or something like that. It just doesn't have to be just whatever calls to you, And so let's see what else here, if we can touch on something else about the Tao. If you want to become whole, let yourself be partial. If you want to become straight, let yourself be crooked. If you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be reborn, you must let yourself die. If you want to give everything up. The master, by residing in the Tao, sets an example for all beings. Because he doesn't display himself, people can see his light. Because he has nothing to prove, people can see his words. Because he doesn't know who he is, people recognize themselves in him. Because he has no goal in mind, everything he does succeeds. Okay, when you want something, you automatically see yourself without it, right? And that's the whole thing. It's like, when something's beautiful, it's automatically ugly, right? Someone's going to say it's ugly. It's all perspective. It's all the one consciousness. It's what do you see? You know what I mean? But that's the whole thing about opening your mind, and the collective consciousness is like seeing these different perspectives and not growing an attachment to certain things. Just set the intention, follow the flow state, and take the signs the universe is giving to you. But when you want something, you automatically see yourself without it. When you're locked in judgment, there's a part of you that is locked in fear or held back, right? So let's say something makes me uncomfortable. I see something or somebody doing something or something happening, and it makes me want to judge. However, that's just a side of me and a side of us that we're afraid or held back from understanding more about, right? And to recognize the totality in yourself, you must recognize both the straight and the crooked, the good and the bad. Don't judge yourself for having thoughts. Don't judge yourself for wanting certain things, but choose the light, but confront these things. You know what I mean? Understand that we all have these things in us. It's okay to feel stress. It's okay to feel anxiety and depression and all these things. We all have them, right? But it's all about choosing the light, right? Not hiding, not putting in the dark in the closet, embracing it, understanding that we have it in us, and choosing the light. You must be willing to make mistakes, or else you won't learn. You cannot be great at something before you're not good. You know what I mean? That Daniel Bolelli guy says how if you want to master something, it's 10,000 hours, right? Oh, what if I work it twice as hard? Oh, well, it's going to take you double the time because you're thinking too hard about it. You just need to take the action, let it flow, make mistakes. It's okay if you try something and you don't like it. That's how you find more about yourself. That's how you grow, as you take things, you learn from these things, you adapt to these things into your life. And it's okay. There is no such thing as failure. Tony Robbins says there's no such thing as failure. There's just learning from mistakes, right? There's just learning and growing and changing the approach. All right. Embrace your impartiality. Embrace there's parts of you that aren't completely, how do I say this? You're not a master of everything, right? And that's okay. That's what makes us whole, is the impartiality. That's what I'm trying to say, because there are things that we don't know, or things that we feel inside of us that we feel like we shouldn't feel. That's what makes us the whole being inside, is that we have these things in us. You are a whole person. You know what I mean? It takes learning and growth and understanding to develop into that wholeness. However, you are whole because you don't know yet, because that's the collective consciousness, and so we'll touch on one more chapter, and here's the thing. There are like 70 chapters of the Tao, 70 plus, and I've just kind of been like skipping through chapters. So like what I did was I read some of the Tao, or I tried to read some of the Tao, you know what I mean? Not the whole thing. And then I went to this Aubrey Marcus podcast, and I went to certain things that he talked about, in which like he talked about chapter 1, 4, 22, and so 49 right here. It says, the master has no mind of her own. She works with the mind of the people. She is good to people who are good. She is also good to people who aren't good. This is true goodness. She trusts people who are trustworthy. She also trusts people who aren't trustworthy. This is true trust. Regardless of who you interact with, and this comes back to the whole perspective thing, approaching people with love. No matter how they act to you, don't let yourself switch up. Be you. Be that authentic self. Approach people with love. Don't let them affect your light, right? Like we said, you could completely change their world. You could completely change their perspective by just being your light and being yourself and doing what you believe. You know what I mean? And then the next time you interact with that person, it could completely change them, and then it's a chain effect. Be the light, choose the light, embrace the impartiality and the darkness in you, and understand that they're going through something just like you usually go through something, and that's okay. You know what I mean? That's what makes us the whole being we are. Let's see what else here. He talks about chapter 59, the mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas, tolerant like the sky, all-pervading like sunlight, firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind. He has no destination in view and makes use of anything life happens to bring his way, right? The flow state, the universe giving you signs and, taking the action and going. When you learn something new or resonates, don't become attached to it, right? And that's what we talked about too. Understanding that like there are different perspectives and different ideas that you can embrace. And like if someone comes up to me and they're like, well, I don't understand that. This is why I believe. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to say, all right, what I believe to be true may not be true. But what you are telling me is timeless, universal in application, I'll use it. I would love to use it. Tell me your knowledge. Be open, roll and adapt to what life puts in front of you. Don't let these ideas become your identity, right? The ego clings to the identity, right? You need to have this balance between like, okay, my ego is telling me to do this, and this is my understanding about this thing. But at the same time, this is the all consciousness, and these are the different perspectives. And my way to live is not the only way to live. I don't know what none of us know what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm just a guy. I'm just a gay. You know what I mean? I'm a guy. Have a flexible identity, as Aubrey Marcus and Daniel Boyle always say. Be an open person when it comes to certain things, and embrace that authentic self. You know what I mean? Embrace the idea that you need to be curious and be a learner. We talked about this in the last episode. Be a learner, be curious. When someone comes up to you with a different idea or perspective, and that's the whole thing, is like changing the perspective is what will open yourself up to growth and new ideas. And it is truly a beautiful thing. And I'm really happy with the Dao. I love the Dao. I'm super excited to relate it to other certain things. We're going to get more into the Dao. I can't wait to tell you guys what I talk about in my yoga classes too. I'm going to apply the Dao and the effortless movement of flow to next movement to movement, as we were talking about. I'm super excited. And tomorrow, wish me luck. I'm teaching a partial class. I'm actually going to start the class with a reading, and this is what I'm going to read. So, LS Dream goes to festivals, and he does this thing called the Light Code, right? It's a mixed playlist that he uses in his yoga classes, right? Or whatever. He DJs, and this is the thing. So I'm going to play the Light Code, and then I'm going to read Grizz's intro to his album called Chasing the Golden Hour, which I shout out Grizz. I went to Electric Forest, and so I could either have seen LS Dream, Subtronics, or went to see Grizz, right? And I love Grizz, but I really wanted to melt. I wanted to see, I said LS Dream. I did see LS Dream, but I want to see Liquid Stranger and Subtronics. Right? I really want to see Liquid Stranger. But the next day, right? Now, this is the whole thing. It's like, I didn't want to see Grizz in that moment, but I got the opportunity to see him the next day, and it was like 12 o'clock. The sun was out. You could feel it beating on your skin. The sky was blue. You could just see the aura, just the whole energy field of the whole environment. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever been a part of. And he played this set called the Golden Hour set, and, Chasing the Golden Hour, right? It was just so magical, because it's just like you go on these journeys, and the universe just puts you in these situations where it's like, it's beautiful outside. He's playing Chasing the Golden Hour. He's got his saxophone. You can feel the golden energy, and it's just like, so amazing. And so I want people to feel that. Like, that's why I love the certain artists I do and love the festivals, because of the spiritual aspect behind it, because of the divine that they get it. And so this is what I'm going to read, and I'm kind of going to adjust it, because I would play the song itself, but like, it's kind of like a little, like, you can't hear as well in the speaker we got in the gym. You can't hear it, that great. So this is what it's going to say. The universe doesn't try to give us answers or try to convince us of her beauty. The universe just is. Being is the answer. Being is beautiful. The universe doesn't demand anything of us. We're the ones trying to figure everything out, right? The universe just is, right? The universe, it's just all this thing. It's us that puts the stress on us. It's us that puts the anxiety of having to get things done, of having to be this certain person. But in reality, the universe just is, right? The universe is just this being, right? Just be with the universe. Set the intention and be, right? Anyways, the universe doesn't demand anything else. We're the ones trying to figure it out, and it always has been there. Everything. You do not lack. You are born of the infinite everything. When you came into this world, so did the world come out of you. You exist so that everything can. When you start trying, you admit that there is something you aren't. Do not lack. Live in abundance. You are a whole being. The glass isn't half full, but rather I am the ocean whose waters overflow. The sun, as it dips low in the technicolor sky, does not try to mesmerize the soul. Then lets dark arrive so the moon can glow. That right there, embracing the darkness. Without the darkness, you will not have the light. We all have it in us. This darkness, it's in the world. Embrace it. Do not push it away, because even in like for example, like a painting, right? The only way you'll see that it's a dark painting is with the light colors. It's the balance. It's in everything. It's in you. The moon glows so beautifully and the stars gloom because of the darkness that surrounds it. This beauty cannot be told true. It just is, and so are you, and it's up to us to see it. The more you try, the less you be, and the less you see. Effortless. That comes back to the Tao. It's the connection. This is the connection we're making. Effortless flow. Go through the flow of the movements through the day. Do what calls to you. Trust the intuition. Understand that you're going to have days where you're not going to feel good. But that's what makes you as a whole being, because we all go through those things. That's the one consciousness. Let go and become the universe. See, you don't need anything when the universe is everything. This is your experience. This is your life to live. No time like the present. Like not no N-O, but K-N-O-W. Time like the present. So I'm very excited to read that tomorrow morning. I'll let you guys know how it goes on the next episode. I'm so excited to start this yoga journey. And I encourage you guys to give it a shot yourselves. It's a beautiful practice. It helps you be present in the moment. And it's so applicable in your life. And it's not just, the workout itself, but it's the mental and spiritual elements that are underlying that really make an impact. And that's why it resonates so well with me, because obviously, people like to lift and do their thing and they like to run, but I love yoga because it helps me in so many other areas of my life. And it's brought me so many amazing connections. So I encourage you to go give it a shot. And if you guys are in Key West sometime, come to one of my classes. So I really appreciate you guys for listening. I have so much fun with this. I love sharing my knowledge and things that I've learned with you guys. And I hope that you guys get something out of what this podcast is. And, comment any other philosophies you might want me to talk about. Comment something that may have resonated with you, that you applied to your life, and you're like, I want to hear about your guys' experiences. Let's make the connections, let's collaborate here. That's the whole point. Let's raise this consciousness and vibration. Let's be awesome, everybody. I love you guys. This has been More Growth. My name is Nicholas Manus. Have a great rest of your day.